absolutely criminal shooting space and lighting, and unfortunately we live and we cope. So, book recs. See, my issue is that, like, I don't have any authority. I think I read, I don't want to say more than average, because I feel like people are, like, it's very trendy to read, you know what I mean? So I'm not gonna be like, I read, like, but I'm known to open a book or two. So I am not qualified to give anyone book recommendations, but if there's something about me, it's that I have not the greatest attention span, and my favorite part about most books is, like, researching them later and, like, video essaying about them later. Like, I enjoy, like, learning what other people, like, what happens within the book and, like, the making of it. So I think my book recommendations, like, some of them are just, like, I thought they were really interesting, and, like, I got through them really quickly, but I feel like a lot of them are also just that I think, like, after reading more about the author or whatever, like, they handled the topic well, or they this or they that. So yeah. I feel like we should start with the books that I just thought were, like, good reads, like, they got me back into reading, or they get me back into reading if I'm in a slump. So I have my creepy pile. Let's go through them. I didn't want to choose too many. And I also have books in here that I did not like very much, but I know are popular, so I want to talk about that too. Okay, the most popular ones I have here that I truly enjoyed. Is that even, yeah. The Virgin Suicides, Perks of Being a Wallflower. I thought they were good books. Call me whatever you want. I thought they were good. Virgin Suicides, I read before I watched the movie, maybe? Did I? I know that I read this after I watched the movie. And I think that they did the movie really well, which is actually why it's really interesting to me, the whole Dear Evan Hansen situation, like the movie, which is terrible. Because Stephen Chbosky, Perks of Being a Wallflower Man, he's the one who, like, directed it, and he did a really good job with Perks of Being a Wallflower. Anyway, the point is that I think that, as you can tell, I was in my, like, bookmarking era. I really liked a lot of parts of it, and I think it's one of those books that, like, it's written with the, like, letters. I know there's a word for it, I don't know the word. So I think it kind of moves at a fast pace by that nature, just because, like, you read a section and you feel like you're, like, moving quickly. And it's also, like, very good, like, quotable. And the movie's really good. I'd say 4.5 stars. I don't want to, like, summarize these because I feel like everyone knows what the summary is. Virgin Suicides, you can tell she went through something. Like, she's a little bit battered because I brought her everywhere. I thought this was, like, oh my god. This is just, like, a sad one, but it is good. It doesn't move as quickly, and I feel like there were parts where I wasn't the most, like, oh my god, I need to keep reading. But, like, if you get to the end and you just, like, crying, sobbing on the floor, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, if you get it, you get it. I feel like I can't convince you to read Virgin. Some of these I think I can convince you, but if you don't want to read the Virgin Suicides, I cannot convince you to read the Virgin Suicides. Slightly less well-known, Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe. Oh my god, 10 out of 10. 5 out of 5 stars, would recommend. It's like, I'm trying to summarize without giving it away. I think one of the best things about it, it's like, it is very fast-paced. The chapters are very short, which I like. And it's just the sweetest story about, like, friendship and, like, growing up and just, I don't know. I think that sounds very, like, every coming of age story. But it's so sweet. It's with these two kids, Aristotle and Dante, and, like, they spend a summer together, and it's, like, pulls at the heartstrings. I highlighted so many things here. I like went back and cried about some of these things. I actually have the sequel like on my bookshelf over there, and I haven't opened it yet because I have a lot of books that I need to read. So I'm gonna get to the sequel, but what I can vouch for is that this is a really good book. Okay, I think I need to do a controversial one before I get into the other like boringer ones. I had to read this for school. Like this summer, I was required to read Unaccustomed Earth, and I genuinely really enjoyed it. Like I was sitting on the train reading this like almost every day for like 2 weeks. I mean, it didn't take me 2 weeks to read it, but like I was in that situation. And it was so like captivating. Like I was fully walking through the streets of New York City, like clutching this book to my chest. Cause I was like, I want to open it again. I like it's a short story like collection book kind of thing, but they all follow like the theme of like immigrant, like specifically like Indian immigrants and like the experience, and like they just, some of the stories, I'll be honest, made me really pissed off. Genuinely, I got like so angry, I called my sister and I was like, this is so stupid, this bitch. But I think that's kind of the mark of a good story. Like, I want to be invested in your drama. I don't want to be like detached from your drama as a story. It's sad. It was really unexpected because like my high school was like, girl, read it. You must, for scholarly reasons. Which is kind of always like, it just always dampens your experience. But I thought this was a really good one. Either way. Okay. Again, on the train, I had hours to kill. I got into Kurt Vonnegut this summer, weirdly enough. I feel like you hear his name a lot, but like, I've never been a Kurt Vonnegut girly. Until apparently I am. I read Slaughterhouse-Five. I really fucked with the cover. But it was actually the sweetest thing, because I finished a different book. What book did I finish? Okay, I finished a different book. And then I was like, oh, I should probably go to the bookstore and like get another one because I have time to kill. Like I should probably have a book to read on the train. So I was walking, but then like right on the corner of Cooper Square, there was like this little book stand man with books. And one of them was Slaughterhouse-Five. And I was like, oh my God, I'm looking for a book actually. Maybe I should like pick up a little read. And then the guy was like, oh my God, hey, you're looking for a book? And I was like, yeah. And he told me to read like, well, it's like When the Caged Bird Sings or something by Maya Angelou. And I picked it up, and then I looked at Slaughterhouse-Five, and I was like, this one looks really good too, though. He was like, go for it, queen. So I got Slaughterhouse-Five, and I was like, how much? Like, I need to pay you, sir. And he goes, however much you think. Like, I'm sorry, I understand, like, it's supposed to be nice. Like, I get it conceptually, but I hate people do that. Like, it's so stressful. I don't want to, like, undervalue your craft or, like, your book. So I'm sitting there, like, and he was just like, how much do you have? And I was like, I have, like, a 20, like, I don't know, like, I don't know what to tell, like, you can have it? Like, I got really stressed out, and he was just like, give me 5. And I was like, what? It was really weird, but I don't know. More of the story is that I got Slaughterhouse-Five, and then I, like, speed read it in, like, 2-3 days. And then now my current read is Welcome to the Monkey House. Slaughterhouse-Five, I can't convince you if you, like, I feel like whenever, or before I read any of Kurt Vonnegut, it was always like, oh, it's, like, the satirical, like, oh, he's just, like, an old man writing these little novels. But it's actually, like, you're really captivated by the story about like fucking World War II. And it's like, it's so good. And then I watched the, what's it called? Unstuck in Time, I think. The Kurt Vonnegut documentary. Spectacular. I like documentaries. I am a documentary person, for context. So maybe I've just like liked it because it's a documentary, but I thought it was really good. So, Slaughterhouse-Five, 5 out of 5. Welcome to the Monkey House. I feel like some of the short stories are obviously better than others, but right now, I'm like midway through, I'd give it like a 3.58 out of 5 so far. I don't like it as much, but like, I'm enjoying it. This is kind of controversial, but I was between getting Otessa, some kind of last name, I don't remember, like My Year of Rest and Relaxation, or getting Joan Didion, The Year of Magical Thinking. There was no motivating factor for choosing this one over that, but I chose this to read. And it's like, it's fine. I don't love it. I don't know. I admittedly only got to page like 20 something, but I was really trying to get into it, and it was like, it's good. I enjoy like autobiography things. I enjoy like, people say it's like, oh, it teaches you through grief. And I was like, okay, like I could do with some learning about grief. And I don't know. I think what I like about Slaughterhouse-Five is that it deals with these like topics that are less than spectacular, but it still makes them something that you're like interested in, you're captivated by, and you like want to reach out and learn more and like learn about the tragic parts of it, you know what I mean? And I don't know, I think it's probably just like not for me. I think what I've learned is that it's like reading poetry. I think I've talked about this before actually, but like I could just never be a person that just sits down and like reads some poetry. Like buying a poetry book is something that like confuses me. I really wish I was, but unfortunately I'm not. I can't just sit like, what, you just read one poem, you flip to read another poem for like hours? Like I could read a book and like follow a through line, but like how are you sitting there reading poems for hours? I don't mean to like insult poetry, just like I like like I just don't understand reading like a bunch of poems at once. That's what really confuses me. Like genuinely, like life-wise, that's a big confusion for me. Anyway, not for me. 1.289 out of 5 stars. I don't know who asked me to rate these. Things Fall Apart. I think I need to like bring it back up to a positive. Good. I loved it. I thought it was a really good book. And my copy that I have is very small, very thin, which means perfect for like on-the-go reading, which isn't really a property of the book itself and like the quality of it, but it enhanced my experience. So I really enjoyed this read. If you don't know, it's about like things falling apart, colonization. It's not awesome. But like the way it's written, I feel like you don't ever, in history class, you learn that a lot of history is taught through the like, lens of like white people or the colonizers or whatever, just because like there's no written history, because there's no this, there's no that, or erasure. And it's just like, it's colonization told to the eyes of not the colonizer, you know? So I don't know. I think that in itself like made it way more interesting than like, I'm forced to read Founding Brothers. I'm not even gonna show you the book this year for summer homework. And like, no, like this is a good read. That is disgusting. Read this. Informative, interesting, tragic. It's a good book. 1984 by George Orwell. I can't. I'm sorry. I got like halfway in, so I actually can say I gave it a good try. But I can't. I think it's just one of those things that's become so like, it's become so in like the cultural like zeitgeist. Like everyone can be like, oh, it's just like Big Brother, or like, oh my god, it's whatever. So it's just, maybe like I knew too much about it unintentionally before going in, so like anything I was supposed to like pick up or learn was just like, oh yes, I've heard that. It's like saying Catch-22, where you're like, I haven't read that book, but I know like Catch-22, like this, you know? I feel like also I was definitely like a YA kid, like a Divergent, Hunger Games, Harry Potter, Percy Jackson especially, child. So like my soul, I think, is still recovering from like the section of books that are like oh my god, crazy totalitarian government, authoritarian government, like does this, is that, like what happens to the world, all this stuff. Like that was all I read for genuinely years. Like, and I was a reader. Like, let me get some alone time to read my book during recess. Like, I was that kid. So I just feel like it wasn't for me. That's my pile. No one asked for this. Actually, maybe one person did. One person asked for this. So if you're that one person, like, this is for you. I hope you found my list of books that I either did or did not like to be a list. Tell me your favorite book, because even though I have a bunch I haven't read, I'm always looking for recommendations. Wasting money on books. Woo! Woo! Okay, bye. Love you.